Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's AEW Dynamite review show. We are going to talk about March 31st edition of AEW Dynamite, and we've got a whole lot to get into, including the end of the quote-unquote Wednesday Night Wars, Christian Cage debuts in-ring, and some incredible trios, tag team action per usual, whole bunch to get into, and so much more. Thanks for choosing the unofficial WWE podcast today, and let's not waste any more time.
Championship means that much. I can't believe what we're seeing here. DMD.
All right, you guys, I hope you have all had a wonderful week, the end of March and the beginning of April today, as today is April 1st, 2021. My name is Mimi Burris, and like I said, we've got a whole bunch to get into. But before we get into Dynamite that happened last night, I do want to talk to you guys real quick about the end of, like I said, the quote-unquote Wednesday Night Wars. I think war is a inflated, maybe, word to use for what you want to call this, considering it was more of a lashing by AEW. I think you could probably count on your hands the number of times NXT took the ratings win in the, like I said, quote-unquote war. But it sounds like NXT officially after WrestleMania is moving to Tuesday nights. I know there are a couple of other reasons why NXT was supposedly moving to Tuesday nights, but I think AEW deserves to be able to say that they won this, again, Wednesday Night War. Kicked butt in the ratings, truly. So, exciting stuff. I think the real winners of this whole thing, though, are us, the fans, because I don't know about you guys watching that much wrestling television, going back and forth from NXT and AEW, and I normally watch AEW first, and then going to NXT, I just go in with, like, already a sour mood, because I know I'm going to be let down in comparison. And it's a lot of wrestling to watch every week, guys. I mean, we've got Monday nights Raw, Tuesday now NXT, Wednesday AEW, Thursday if you guys watch Impact Wrestling, there's that. Friday night we have SmackDown, you know, and then you've got your every now and then pay-per-views on the weekends. So it's a lot of wrestling, and I'm not complaining as a fan. Ton of content to watch. As a analyzer and a critic, I guess. It can be a little bit much, because you guys know I do my highs and lows of the week every Sunday, Saturday, depending on what time I can get it. I record it on Saturday, but depending on what time I can get it to Matt. And so, I mean, to watch that much and be able to review, if I included Impact, I guess I include those shows as well, but I don't go seek them out and watch them unless I see something exciting has happened, and, you know, nothing seems to compare to what the at least the 4 main shows a week that I watch produce every week. So just wanted to give you guys my quick input on all that. Exciting stuff, NXT over to Tuesday nights, and I assume that'll be a ratings boost for both shows, but I still assume that even so, AEW will continue to draw more views and more ratings than NXT does. Just simply a better product, no hot-shotting, or at least way less hot-shotting, better storytelling, better long-term booking, and a little bit for everybody. And that is a perfect transition. We've got into this beautiful buffet of a professional wrestling show we had last night. I mean, there was something for everybody on this show. And if you can sit here and tell me you watched the show and you didn't like every single segment, I think you're sad. I don't know. I guess I can't think of a word. I think that's sad. I think there was something for everybody on this show. And for me, I pretty much loved all of it. I mean, I had a couple issues here and there with a thing or two, but we will get into that, like I said. And per usual, we're going to start at the top of the card here. And what a way to start off this show other than Christian Cage debut match in ring against Frankie Kazarian, and this was something special. So I could talk about this match probably for an hour, you know, just dissecting all the little intricacies that were done throughout it so brilliantly. As you can tell, I'm already super high on this match. I will say it wasn't the most exhilarating match ever. And when I use the word exhilarating, I guess I don't use that as a synonym for exciting, because this match was exciting. It just didn't have your typical big spots, boom, boom, boom feeling, though we got plenty of that later on in the match. This was a classic clinic of professional wrestling. And when I say that, I don't necessarily, again, mean like grapples and this and that, like it's something you'd see like a Daniel Bryan or whatever do. But my point is this was so well done due to really one point and one point only, and that was the registering, the selling, and the drama that these two guys created in that ring for the opening match here on Dynamite. Real quick, I'll give you guys a short recap of, we started off with a little bit of a collar, elbow tie-ups, back and forth here and there. Kazarian dominated most of the beginning of the match. We did get to see Christian pull out some vintage Christian moves, uppercut off the turnbuckle, and then we had that over-the-rope open hand slap. Some just good, exciting stuff from Christian to see, like he still got it, and fun, nostalgic stuff too. Later on, Christian hits Kazarian with a frog splash for a near fall. Kazarian goes for a chicken wing submission, as he has gone for previously in the match. But Christian counters with the kill switch for the win. A bunch of other exciting spots in this match that I didn't mention. The leg drop, the really well done chicken wing submission in the middle of the ring, and the struggle for Christian to get back to the ropes. Just some great stuff throughout the whole match. But yes, Christian took the 1-2-3 as expected. But man, did he make you feel like he was going to lose his debut on AEW Dynamite. That's what made this so exciting. And so to dissect this really quick, why this was so well done. If you are a newer fan of wrestling and used to I don't want to call it like let's just call it the high spot formula. Let's put it like that. This is probably not your forte, because this was slow and methodical and well done and took its time and allowed the commentators to tell the story while the two guys in the ring told the story. It allowed the commentators to narrate the story, let me put it that way. Christian, the selling was so well done. He kind of almost too far, because he gave me like the Edge vibes that I get sometimes, not to make the comparison between the two, but like I don't want to think of Christian. I want to think of him as a veteran, but I don't want to think of him as old. And a good comparison, I guess, is the man who stood across from him in the ring is Frankie Kazarian, who doesn't look old. Obviously, he's younger than Christian, but doesn't look old, but has a veteran feel to him. And Christian had an old man feeling to him in some of this match. But nevertheless, I mean, then he does stuff like the frog splash and some of the counters he pulled in this match. The quick way he slid out from or slid out of the way when Frankie Kazarian went into the corner, and you had Kazarian go shoulder first into the post. Like little things like that. I was like, all right, this isn't just like an old man wrestling, but just brilliant stuff in regards to like the punches in the face, man. Like I this is my biggest pet peeve in wrestling, and if you've heard any of my podcasts, I've probably talked about this once. I can't stand when these guys get punched square in the face, forearm or not. I don't care what it is, fist, forearm, whatever, kicked in the face, and they just punch the other guy back like nothing just happened. If you got punched in the face, you'd feel that, and Christians showed that, and it exposes the business when you don't sell things like that. So well done. The struggle in this match, where Christian was like a lot of people maybe don't like this, but where he's holding onto the ropes there, like needs a breather. Kazarian's kicking him while he's on the ropes and things like that. Like you see Christian struggling against this guy. So one, he's putting over Frankie Kazarian as a great wrestler, that he's opposed to in the ring. And then two, you start to feel something for Christian and get behind him because you want him to get that burst back, and you want him to hit the kill switch, and you want him to get the 1-2-3. Just little simple nuances like that were so beautifully and brilliantly done. And it's the thing is like selling the superplex. Like, that's a big move, right? That used to be Cowboy Bob Orton's finisher way back in the day. I might be dating myself or not correct on that, but I'm almost positive. Like, things like that, and selling the leg drop from Kazarian and kicking out at, like, right the last second. I even think the ref's count started to slow down throughout this match because he saw the pacing of the match, and the counts are so fast nowadays. It is like 1, 2, 3. That is not 3 seconds, right? Like, I want to be thrilled. I want to wait and see that shoulder just get up before the ref's hand can go down for the 3 count. Little nuances like that were so well done in this match. And this was, like I said, it was a clinic on I don't want to say like an old-fashioned, because that's not the right term. I think a lot of matches can take at least aspects of this match and apply it to them to make it better, because a lot of AEW is already amazing, but just slowing down, giving enough time to tell the story between the 2 guys in the ring, and giving the commentators enough time to tell the story, slowing it down, selling each move, not just registering it, because the more the wrestlers sell a move, the more I care about that particular move and the match as a whole. If someone punches someone in the face and they just punch them right back, I don't really believe that meant anything. But you saw the look in Christian's eyes when he would get hit by Kazarian, like that makes me think, oh my God, is he okay? Like, did they screw up? Did they f*** up? Like that is so well done. And not to sleep on Frankie Kazarian here at all. This guy was not, did not need to be led by the veteran Christian throughout the match. He carried his own. I mean, I think real MVP of this match was Kazarian. Just unbelievable as well. We talked about the struggle on the chicken wing submission, the frustration, the selling on his own part, going for the move, that look in your eyes that says, what the heck do I have to do to put this guy away? All this stuff, absolutely brilliant. Could not be higher on this match. Again, it was not your 5-star classic by any means in today's standards, but if you look at more of a purist point of view, I think definitely 4 stars. Unbelievably done. We're going to look back on this match, I guarantee, too, and see Christian came out the gates hot, and not hot like, there were enough high spots in this match, like the Spanish Fly and the Frog Splash and stuff, but like, not hot like Ray Phoenix hot, right? Came out hot as in this guy is going to teach so many guys in the back how to slow down, right? Tell the story in the ring. It is not just moving from one move to the next move. I have such a problem with that. It is the continuation of the match as a whole, right? And if you sell the move that was done to you, the audience will feel the move that was done to you. If you only half sell it, we're only going to half feel it. And so, like I said, couldn't have higher praise for this match, and then we move on to the next thing, which I don't think I will have as high praise to, but like I said, super well done. Great to see Christian in AEW, and already forgetting all of the hype letdown of his signing. I think he definitely lived up to outworking everybody, because he looked like he was in a lot of pain, suffering, struggling, and still outworked Kazarian that night and got the win. So, all right, moving on now, because like I said, I could talk about this match all night, but we are going to talk about the next segment that was this weird Darby Allin thing to Matt Hardy. I want to call it a promo, but it was like a weird video package with Sting and Darby Allin. Basically, he tells Matt Hardy that Hardy would have had to earn his respect because his money didn't mean to him. That would have been fine. Give Darby Allin and Sting a little weird dark alley in the back and shoot him saying that. I didn't get this. This was like for something that just happened really last week to this week to have like such an intense thing like this. I get it. Darby Allin's a filmmaker. They think they're very artsy with this stuff, but it just didn't hit for me. It was weird, awkward. This blossoming feud, if you want to call it that, did not warrant this. It just didn't warrant this whole big thing. So again, I was not so high on this, especially coming off the high of such a great match like that. This did not work for me. I get it. Like I said, Darby Allin thinks he's super artsy-fartsy. I'm sure Tony Khan and people in AEW also think that they're super artsy-fartsy with this stuff, but it just didn't make sense in the context. If they want to add this for a pay-per-view match or at least a match on Dynamite coming up in a couple weeks, fine. Feud did not warrant it, and it's just not for me subjectively, I guess, as well. But moving on down the line, up next we had the highlights of Jade Cargill. Just a quick little promo package where at the end of it she says that you keep talking week after week because nobody can be me, because I am that woman and I am that. We're doing a lot of bleeping already in the show, I think. I think I've dropped a couple, whatever. Anyways, it's not me, guys. It's Jade Cargill. So, cute little good promo. Nothing new, nothing exciting. Again, I don't know. Hope next week we get to see another squash match. I want to see Jade Cargill live wrestling again. I think it's I hope she's continuously working, and it looks like she is on getting better. The only thing I'm a little overzealous with this, but I worry sometimes that a lot of wrestlers that are trained like this specifically to be such a to learn all these big moves and big power spots don't take the time to necessarily learn how to properly do what we were just talking for 20 minutes, it feels like, about like selling. And so hopefully Jade Cargill and Christian cross paths, and I think he could show her a lot of, in her eventual matches that aren't just going to be squash matches, how she can sell. Big Show too, honestly. I think Big Show would be great for her as well. But how she can sell each move so she doesn't look like she's not, this big giant of a woman, but she's not impenetrable. So yeah, good stuff. We're going to talk about her later on in the show again, and it wasn't so high on the next thing that we're going to talk about her, but we're going to move on down to this exhibition match with special guest referee, the Enforcer, Arn Anderson, Cody Rhodes versus QT Marshall, and we will talk about the match first, and then of course we will get into the aftermath of the match, which was much more to the story than this exhibition. So this match led itself to be exactly kind of what we would have expected, I guess, is that Cody was kind of veering the line of being cocky and confident and kind of a dick, and then also not. So, and just like wanting to not hurt his friend. So, long story go away, right? They go through the match. Cody's mostly dominant in a wrestling aspect of grappling and all this stuff and reversing, and QT keeps getting angry about it, slapping him, yada yada. And then later on in the match, QT goes for a diving crossbody on Cody, but Cody ducks out of the way and QT rolls out of the ring. Dustin Rhodes, gives him like a little pat on the back, like keep it up, QT, like very patronizing. And then QT slaps Dustin's hands off of him. Cody's, again, kind of being a little bit of a dick there, and sits on the ring ropes, has him, I did it again, guys. All right, I promise. No more cursing. I'm not going to promise that, actually. I will do my best. I don't know why. Today's just the day, I guess. Open the floodgates, guys. I opened the invisible door. Anyways, Cody is sitting on the ropes, kind of waiting for QT to come back in the ring. And then QT comes in, sucker punches Arn Anderson with a cheap shot, and then immediately, leaves the ring, kind of has this look on his face like, oh my gosh, what did I just do? Cody goes, obviously, to go help Arn Anderson right away. And then the beatdown begins. So I forgot to mention, all of the Nightmare Family trainees are around the ring, obviously, which makes sense in the context of the match, right? Because you've got an exhibition. How about you have all these trainees come and watch these two guys go at it? Maybe they can learn something. But the trainees turn on the teachers and Lee Johnson. You got a powerbomb to Lee Johnson outside. Dustin Rhodes takes a pile driver on the steel steps. Whole melee brawl breaks out. Dustin bled, man. I mean, was really bleeding. QT apparently is the mastermind behind this entire thing, which is a little concerning, and we will talk about that after this quick recap. But yeah, and then they go to get Cody Rhodes. QT hits Arn Anderson's arm on the outside on the guardrail, And then they go to get Cody Rhodes and essentially give him a concerto, head to steel chair. And then you have Red Velvet come out and make the save. What a brilliant move, by the way. And again, we'll talk about this a little bit more, but brilliant move to have Red Velvet come out. The trainees and QT walk off. He had a great punch by, I forget his name, and I'll have to look it up. But the great, punch by this guy. What is his name? Let me look it up before I continue talking about this, because it was like something a go-go, right? Again, I'm not familiar with the Nightmare Factory. Oh, here we go. It was I did get it right. It was a go-go. Anthony a go-go. I love that guy's got star power. I mean, the way he was rolling up his sleeves, he just looked like he looked like he'd been doing this for a while, and I know he's already a trainee, and it's a weird thing to say because we didn't really see any wrestling from him, but just you can feel someone's presence in the ring, and and they've got that it factor, and this guy, I guarantee, you can quote me now, is gonna be something in this company, because something about his presence and the punch that he laid into Cody right in the midsection. And then they go for the concerto. Red Velvet makes a save, and then we have QT walking off with the trainees. And before we get into the next segment, I will say this whole thing brilliantly done, right? This segment in particular, let me put it simply, the match was a little bit funky with the idea of Cody is really going back and forth on this line of like babyface heel tweener, but you love Cody so much that he's a babyface, but he's kind of really a jerk. I'm going to use jerk this time so I don't have to edit myself more. It's going to take a while to go through all this. Yeah, it kind of looked like a jerk throughout this match, but then, of course, brilliant AEW booking. You get the sympathy right on the Rhodes family, because yeah, Cody Rhodes kind of deserves a slap in the face sometimes, or like a shut the F up guy, like your head's getting too big, you know what I mean, like just needs a little quick whipping to be like, bring it down a peg, you're not that great. He's got a big ego, at least as a character, and deservingly so, should have a lot of confidence, but I definitely needs to be taken down a peg every now and then. This, though, was taking that idea of, we need to take Cody down a peg every now and then, and bringing it up to a whole new level of insanity. And that's what makes a great turning point for heels, because you've got something that's edged in truth, right? That Cody probably needs a good, again, like I said, a slap in the face, kick in the shin, whatever, like, tone it down, dude, your head's getting too big again. Instead, though, they're psychotic, and they take that into this giant thing of, I'm gonna slam his head between steel and steel. And of course now, Red Velvet, awesome babyface, Cody Rhodes, the whole Nightmare Factory, besides obviously the trainees and QT Marshall, right, look like great sympathetic baby faces, and you've got a clear heel babyface dynamic where I know there have been some complaints about Cody, like, again, trailing that line. So whole segment overall beautifully done. I love this. I could do without, we're gonna talk about later on, you really only need one giant beatdown brawl segment in a show, but whatever, this was the top one in the show for me, and well done. And the only downside is, guys, is I have a lot of faith in Cody Rhodes to take this to next week and see where we go from here. I don't know a lot about QT Marshall, and I don't have a lot more faith in QT Marshall that he's going to be able to be a leader of a stable. I have a feeling that with the Pinnacle now, and I know Team Taz is kind of dwindling, but as heel stables go, he's got a lot to live up to or compared to, and I don't think he's going to be in any comparison to somebody like an MJF. And I couldn't even tell you some of these trainees' names. I had to go look up a Go-Go, so, which is a fun name, by the way, a Go-Go. But yeah, so I'm not thrilled to see what the follow-up of this whole thing is going to be, but I did think the segment itself was done super well. And after this, we had a quick promo from Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page, essentially saying the same thing, that they're, not given opportunities, even though, Scorpio Sky did just have a championship opportunity and lost. Just want to throw that out there. And they're going to go against the system, or take on the system, and show everybody what they're made of. Essentially, we're promoting AEW Dark Elevation again. whatever. Nothing much for me. I would love to see more of Ethan Page. I would like to see more of what he can do, especially with that whole sound problem during that last match that he had on Dynamite. So yeah, I mean, not much to talk about this, guys, but, you know, tune in to AEW Dark Elevation and you'll see they could just plug in that. It is like $9.99 all over again, guys. No, I'm kidding. It's not nearly that bad, but all right, next we have the Dasha interview backstage with Red Velvet. However, she could not get a word out before Jade Cargill came in, beat her down. I watched this back a second time because I wasn't exactly sure if this was just my first take on this or not, or, you know, maybe I was just tired because I did watch this late last night. But I felt like this segment was rushed, and it required a little bit more time. I would have liked to hear a tiny bit more from Red Velvet. But let me say this, Jade Cargill looks like a freaking beast, as she always does, and she essentially just yells at Red Velvet that I am that bleep, and that's it. So, again, I have all great hopes for Red Velvet. Beautiful booking to put these side by side, you know, just despite the weird promo of Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. But to have this side by side, because you just had great babyface Red Velvet. I thought for a minute they might hit her, man. I know this is not this is the 21st century, but I mean they had a straight chair shot to the head on Cody, so I didn't put it past AEW here and Red Velvet to take a bump. I mean, but so yeah, Red Velvet looks like a courageous babyface hero, right? And then you have her get beat up by Jade Cargill, which immediately puts heat on Jade Cargill. You've got heat on QT Marshall and Co. And you've got great baby faces in the Nightmare Factory, minus, again, like I said, QT Marshall and Co. and Red Velvet. So just brilliantly well segmented, done, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, put together, sequentially, very well done. So, all right, after that, guys, we had the Jon Moxley, an amazing promo, as always. Again, I will never do it justice if I try to repeat what Jon Moxley said, but essentially, we have him talking about how he is angry because he can't get the hearing out of his, the sound out of his ears about the noise that it made when they shattered Eddie Kingston's ankle. But then later on, you hear, I forget, one of the commentators said something about his foot. So I don't know, small little continuity error, but I pick up on that stuff because I'm weird. But yeah, so we had him talking about that, talking about how he doesn't like to owe anyone anything. Again, knows he still owes the Young Bucks something. And then cuts like a great promo on Cesar Bononi too. Says, oh, what do you think about this guy? Like, oh, he's great. He's going to make you a lot of money, but he can't make you a lot of money if I'm going to kill him tonight. And essentially putting over Cesar Bononi as this giant beast, which he is, but also at the same time being able to be Jon Moxley, great Jon Moxley himself. Again, he's not this overwhelming superhero babyface, but he's just great at what he does in the ring, and he's going to get it done. And so that's exactly what he did in the match between him and Cesar Bononi. Again, all prayers go out to Cesar Bononi and his family. I know he is going through a lot. I think his wife has leukemia, if I'm correct. So all prayers to him and his family. Wish them the best. And great to see him be able to be on Dynamite 2 weeks in a row here. I think this match could easily be compared to last week's squash match, essentially, with Hangman Page, but it had a different dynamic in the idea that obviously you had Ryan Nemeth outside the ring to provide interference, so it kind of gave a little bit more of an up with Cesar Bononi, so this wasn't just a straight squash match. I think you could have chopped a minute off this match, but it was fun to watch, interesting overall, and again, Jon Moxley gets the win. Simple, easy paradigm shift, 1, 2, 3. Doesn't take much more than that here. And up next, we had MJF backstage with the Pinnacle to give them their gift. So yeah, MJF introduces the Pinnacle and says that they have a new personal stylist. And he says that they also got them an interior decorator to spruce up the backstage lounge that they took from the Inner Circle. And then he starts talking about how they need to fix up the bathroom. But MJF opens the bathroom door to find none other than the Inner Circle all together, standing arms crossed in the bathroom of the dressing room, and then minus Jake Hager, of course, because when MJF says to the rest of the Pinnacle, oh, we gotta go, open the door, who's there? Jake Hager throws the first punch, and then we break out into an all-out brawl, and this was exciting. I think a bunch of things to kind of dissect here, and we'll go piece by piece, but the things that were particularly done well, I think, is, one, this idea, I don't think works if they're traveling from show to show, from arena to arena. But it works when they're stuck in this one arena, right? And so, yeah, no crap. They have their own dressing rooms and want the nicest room because they're going to be there every week. So that makes sense. This whole thing doesn't work, though, and makes no sense if we're traveling every week, because it's whatever. The dressing room is different every week. I don't have to explain that to you guys. You get that. So I like that idea. You're trying to make this fact that they're stuck in Jacksonville every week. It makes it a little bit more exciting. It makes it look like there's a little world behind the scenes that we don't know, or we do know, but we only see a glimpse of. Secondly, done well, some of the places that this brawl took place were a little bit different, and I like that. It wasn't just your typical backstage brawl. The parallels were also really well done. I loved the fact that Wardlow goes through a massage table. Like, what's that about? Like, I don't think I've ever seen that before. That was really cool. And the table, I was like amazed how wonderfully the table just broke. It wasn't like it didn't look contrived. It looked organic, if that makes sense. And even though they force down our throats this is why there's a camera here. Oh, guys, by the way, this is why there's a camera here. This is why there's a camera here. Like, I get it. We don't want the whole hidden camera segment thing. Like, I get that. It's a little bit much sometimes. Give me, like, weird flashback to that bad Young Bucks Don Callis thing at Kenny Omega's house. But nevertheless, that stuff was good. You know, the parallel between Sammy Guevara smashing Sean Spears' head with the door versus him going through the chair. I like that. Though, that segment in particular, or that part of this brawl in particular, the editing, I don't know what it was. It was bad, guys. It was bad. The cut from one thing to the other was the thing that really threw me off. Like, there was this weird space in between. It just looked, again, pre-cut, pre-edited. And I understand, like, I mean, WWE, every single week, someone seems to get chokeslammed or slammed behind the barricade on the concrete, but you know, you don't hear anyone going, like, slamming against the concrete, right? So you have a feeling that there's some kind of padding there, because you're not slamming people on concrete and not showing us, at least. Same kind of thing, right? The camera obviously cut here, so Sammy Guevara doesn't need to slam Sean Spears' head between a door, and due to Sammy Guevara's previous work in some matches, I'm glad that they edited this so that didn't actually have to happen, of course, but it looked bad, and it looked poorly edited and not well done, so minus points for that part. But the rest of this brawl was exciting. The only thing I would say, guys, is, I mean, I don't know, two big, you know, brawls, stable brawls. Like, I understand AEW is made up of stables, but this was a little bit much. And I hate to pick on the Sammy Guevara thing as I, like, rewatch it or whatever. It's really only, like, a couple, like, maybe not even a second long of, like, a weird little delay. But as someone who watches this with a keen eye, right, as AEW encourages us to do with all these details, I pick up on that stuff. But yeah, so one show with these two giant brawls, and then we have the main event to talk about too. I just didn't need that. I don't know about you guys, but it just wasn't, this would have been so great on a different show. Even 1 week, delay it one more week. Give us 1 more week of the Pinnacle being the Pinnacle. And annoying and great on the mic, but just awful heels. Like, and then give us this. Like, I wanted the Inner Circle to return. I think I said it last week. I was excited about it. I want it. I want to really want it. And I could have gone another week or two. I'm a patient fan, I think. So, all in all, though, exciting brawl. I mean, I forget if it was Dax Hardwood or Cash Wheeler. Someone got, as I say with the editing with the door, then meanwhile, I know Dax or Cash, I think it was Dax, got, you know, beaten bloody, and we didn't even see it on camera. They didn't catch it on camera, but he had to get stitches, apparently. It was not pretty. So with all the hidden camera, editing stuff that I critique, also these guys put their bodies on the line every week, so I can't say much about a small little thing like that. But I just have to say it because it takes me out of the moment, and that's my job, to point stuff out like this on this podcast. So all that being said, good segment overall. I like the idea. I like the execution. I think the timing wasn't great, and the production is really where I'd knock them. Not necessarily the actual wrestlers. They did great. And then obviously Chris Jericho throws MJF, gives him a swirly, and then throws him into the vending machine. And then I really would have liked to see some kind of cut on MJF. He just went through glass, but whatever. I understand. It's enough blood on the show as it was. And then throw him out of the dressing room, and that is that. And next week, we're going to see, we'll talk about, obviously, as we preview, but we are going to see the Inner Circle and the follow-up. So I'm excited for that. I probably just could have used another week or two before this came to pass. So next we have Alex Marvez backstage to interview the Young Bucks, and Don Callis comes in once again because I haven't seen this for the past couple weeks. Have you guys seen the Young Bucks getting interrupted by Don Callis for the past 5 weeks? It feels like maybe it's not that long. It's just getting boring. The Young Bucks are not great actors. Long story go away. Again, Don Callis says, just wants to talk to Matt. Tells Matt, you broke Kenny's heart, you make me sick, you left him a bloody mess, slaps him, and Matt Jackson essentially does nothing, and that's it, and that's the whole segment, and I don't want to talk about this anymore, because we're going to talk more about it later on the show. The only thing I will say is that, yes, Matt Jackson looked like a little bit of a wimp, not doing anything back to Don Callis, but at the same time, we get I don't want to say an explanation as to why he did not, but we get a follow-up later on in the show. So, essentially, the baby faces being the bigger people. I just don't always need to see... I think Jon Moxley is a great representation of a baby face that doesn't need to be a little wimpy baby face. I think Jon Moxley would have hit him back. But, obviously, different people, different characters. And that was that. So, next up, though, we had, match of the night, trios match. Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers versus Lucha Brothers and Laredo Kid. I think we previewed this last week. I said this was going to be amazing. This was amazing. I could try to recap this, guys, but I will probably do as good of a job as JR can do commentating on this stuff because it is so fast, so quick, so exciting to watch. But I think the difference between this match and a lot of other matches, too, that sometimes get a rap for just being high spot matches, were that this was really constructed well, I thought. There was a build-up to the high spots, although, of course, in the beginning of the match, they start off with them. But the Luchadors, and I think especially Rey Fenix, but also I will not sleep on Penta and Laredo. But I specifically am talking about Rey Fenix in this because I think he does it better than anybody. First of all, everything, right? This guy can do things with his body that I've never seen another professional wrestler able to do. But number two, these guys make it so the big luchador moves and the high spot moves don't just look like high spots for high spots, right? I'm not just doing flippity-doos to do flippity-doos to look cool on camera, right? I'm doing flippity-doos and all this other tightrope walking stuff because it is an impactful move. It's helping. It is good offense. It's not just flippity-doos for flippity-doos' sake. It is high-impact offense. And it's just done in a different style. It is making luchador wrestling and these high spot moves look credible and not just for flair and flash and one more time, guys, flippity-doos. God, a go-go and flippity-doos. Today has been a fun show, huh? Anyways, real quick to get through this match, we've got, towards the end, again, like I said, a bunch of awesome high spots. I'm not going to be able to do it credit by trying to recap this, and I'm not going to bore you guys for 10 minutes telling you about all the high spots when you can just go watch this if you didn't get to see it. But we had Laredo Kid springboarding off the top, but Omega catches him with the powerbomb. Awesome counter. Hits him with a V-trigger, but Laredo Kid kicks out. Omega goes for the one-winged angel, but Laredo Kid hits him with an awesome tope suicida. The guy like levitates or floats or like in midair it's so amazing to watch these guys wrestle, and I can't say that enough. Later on, Laredo Kid gets Omega, spikes him with the Mishunoku driver. That's a tricky one for me still. But Kenny kicks out at 2, and then Omega just avoids a splash off the top rope and hits the V-trigger, and then hits Laredo Kid with the one winged angel and pins him for the 1-2-3. And then we get Jon Moxley coming down the ramp to the ring, and you're kind of like, okay, John, you got 1-on-4 if you're including Don Callis here, but let's just say 1-on-3 here. What are you gonna do, right? And you're I was about to say stupid, but that's not the word I'm looking for. You're reckless and crazy, but not that reckless and crazy, and you're smarter than that. Not gonna be a brawl here, right? And then, of course, none other than Matt, Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks follow him, and then you get the face-off. They come into the ring, but thank God we didn't get another big brawl, and obviously the Good Brothers and Omega flee, and you get the Young Bucks and Jon Moxley standing tall in the ring, leading us to our next week's match. Leading to a match next week between these 6 men, and wow, am I looking forward to that. I know you guys probably are too. Just gonna be exciting. I hope we get to see this continue to play out, and I don't know, guys. I don't know if you're wanting to see another Kenny Omega Jon Moxley championship match later on. Tell me what you think. I'm curious if you're ready for a new contender, if you're ready for a new top feud. I mean, I know Kenny Omega's got a feud with like everybody in the back, but it's like this big just web of rivalries or people that hate him or like him or whatever. Like everybody has some kind of relationship with Kenny Omega. But I'm excited to see obviously what they do next week, and I'd love to hear if you guys are kind of sick of the whole, elite thing and Jon Moxley and Omega, or if you're ready for another thing. You weren't satisfied with the noise at the end of the exploding barbed wire death match. All right, next, of course, in the quarter hour, we have to have the women because they can't be put anywhere else on the card. Just throwing that out there. But we have Nyla Rose and the Bunny versus Hikaru Shida and Tay Conti. Ty Conti. I'm going to do that every time. You know why, guys? Because my fiance's name is Taylor. And so it's like I see Tay and I say Tay. Ty Conti. Bear with me. Great match for the women. I think great tag team match. Some of the work was really well done. It was all, at the very least, it was passable, and some of these moves were exceptional, especially Ty Conti. Of course, this was just a showing for her. Fun little spot with Hikaru Shida and both her, jumping off the top rope into the whole melee that was going on with Matt Hardy and company. I'm not even going to talk about Matt Hardy on this podcast again, guys. I'm not. This is about the women, so I'm going to at least pay attention to the women here. At the end of the match, though, we get Ty Conti avoids a clothesline by the Bunny, hits her with the Ty KO. She covers her, but Nyla Rose breaks up the pin. Hikaru Shida, like I said, launches off the back of Conti. This was a cool spot. Like, out of nowhere, Hikaru Shida launches off the back of Conti with a knee strike to Nyla. And then we get the cool spot where Shida jumps outside on Private Party and the Butcher and the Blade. And then they catch her, hold her up, and then we have Ty Conti also jump onto them and wipe them all out. Then the Bunny hits Ty Conti with Shida's kendo stick while Vicky Guerrero manages to distract the referee. And then the Bunny hits Ty Conti with the down the rabbit hole and pins her for the 1-2-3. I assume next week, I think they announced it. Ty Conti versus the Bunny, and then I assume Ty Conti is the next challenger for Hikaru Shida's title. Do I think she's going to win the title? No. Do I think she is a great challenger? Absolutely. I think she's been a super awesome, especially in these last 2 weeks, obviously. Good babyface. She's got a great look to her, obviously. She's a beautiful woman, but she's also just got some oomph in her, like some excitement. You can tell that she's getting a little bit of a push from back there, and she knows it, and she knows she's got to go out and perform well, and she looks like she gets better every week. So, whatever. Great, fun match to watch for the women. I would love to see them be able to start the show maybe one time. Obviously, this match did not warrant that, but if we get a championship match on TV, or maybe the Bunny and Ty Conte don't get put in the third hour, that would be cool. That would be nice. And again, you guys are saying, why the third hour? Why is it such a big deal? If you guys don't know, that's usually when the ratings go down the most in this show, because people kind of get tired and bored, or not necessarily the ratings going down the most, but this is your pee break part of the show if you're there live in person, akin to, the Divas match after the Undertaker Brock Lesnar match. I'm pulling from Matt's wrestling nostalgia this week. It's kind of the pee break part of the show, and this did not deserve to be the pee break. It is like the come down from one match so we can, get back up and go into the main event. I just think, you are showing how much you view the importance of the women's division by continuously putting them in this slot every single week. I'm done ranting about it. Let's talk about the main event, because it was Arcade Anarchy. And was it anarchy or not, guys? This was such a fun match. I want to preface all this before I talk about anything more with, this does not make up for the terrible feud that these four men have had. No, this does not make up your long-term story booking or whatever, long-term storytelling, long-term story booking, long-term storytelling. I'm going to get my words together, I promise, guys. Long-term storytelling can be bad. Not all long-term story booking is good. It's telling, God, Jesus. All right. Not all long-term storytelling can be good. Some of it is bad. And this is a perfect example of it. It was 8, 9, 7 weeks of this crap that just went back and forth, and finally we got a payoff, but it was not worth all this. However, this was a fun match and a fun, lighthearted, nice way to end off the show. There were a bunch of awesome spots in this match. Miro looks like a beast through a lot of it. I mean, he is double teamed by Chuck and Orange Cassidy, but after Kip Sabian is taken out with a whack-a-mole mallet, hilarious stuff. But Miro's getting double teamed, but he still manages to beat up the two of them because he's Miro. He's this giant guy. He doesn't use any of the gimmick stuff you see. He continues to use weapons and stuff. Meanwhile, you have Chuck Taylor, who pulls out freaking Legos later on in the match. So great. Again, if you guys have ever stepped on a Lego, I get flashbacks right now. But yeah, Chuck Taylor later on in the match grabs a plush teddy bear and rips it open, spilling out Legos so he can hit a power bomb to Kip Sabian on them. Awful stuff. Orange Cassidy hits speech break on Kip Sabian for a near fall. Follows it up with the orange punch. Cassidy tries to go for another pin, but Penelope Ford pulls the ref out of the ring. And who but Sue in the minivan can come to even the odds. You see Trent coming out of the minivan, getting a kiss from his mother, of course, and then coming in 3-on-1 against Miro. Trent eventually sends him through a table on the outside. After Miro goes after Sue in the minivan, and that's really what sends Trent off. Miro, yes, is taken out by Trent through the table, and then we get Chuck Taylor grabs Kip Sabian and jumps off the stage with a running power slam through the stage below for the 1-2-3. RK Anarchy lives up to the name, as Excalibur says. What a great way to end Dynamite, and you get the beautiful, cute little moment of the thumbs up between Trent, Chuck Taylor, Orange Cassidy, and I don't know how did I forget this, guys? I'm sorry. In the middle of the match, I want to go back here and make sure I mention this. We get one of the best returns in AEW history, because the Galaxy's greatest alien pops up from the prize crane machine and nails Penelope Ford with the glass of it. It was awesome to see the return of Chris Stratlander from it's been months, I think. I don't know how many. I think it's been 5 months, something like that, maybe less than that. But yeah, drops forward off the apron, and then sends her through an air hockey table. That was probably my favorite spot of the entire match. So, all in all, again, best friends get the victory. We are done and over with this feud. Miro can go on and start, maybe he dominates Kip Sabian in a week or two and then moves on to the next thing, and I guarantee he will be a force to be reckoned with. Maybe they book him a little bit similar to Lance Archer-esque, if not better. Miro looked great in this match. Again, I think everybody kind of won in this match, maybe besides Kip Sabian, who got powerbombed onto Legos. Oh, it's so bad. So overall, I love this match. Great way, nice, warm-hearted, happy way to send us off of the end of Dynamite. Doesn't always have to be some big brawl or sad thing or cliffhanger, just a nice way to end Dynamite. And I'm excited to tune in next week, and hopefully there will be no more Legos, because I can't get that out of my head. I'm getting flashbacks of if you guys, like I said, have ever stepped on a Lego or gotten your elbow. I remember getting my elbow on one once. It's the worst. So awesome match, awesome AEW overall. You heard I had a couple problems here and there, but for the most part, guys, this was an awesome episode of AEW, and I will go back and watch some of these matches again, because this was fun stuff. Just sports entertainment, pro wrestling at its best. No wonder they kicked butt in the Wednesday Night Wars, and, I think it is fair to say here on this podcast on April 1st, Thursday, 2021, that AEW won the Wednesday Night Wars. And real quick, before we wrap this whole thing up, I do want to preview next week's AEW for you guys. So it looks like, so far, obviously, again, I'm recording this on Thursday. We've got the Jon Moxley and the Young Bucks versus Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers announced for next week. I did talk about that real quick, and I am super excited to see what these guys can do. Definitely going to be a different dynamic than the last two trios matches we had for the past 2 weeks, but should be fun, should be exhilarating, should be exciting, and I always have faith in what they are going to do when you put Omega and Moxley in a ring, let alone putting the Young Bucks and the Good Brothers in there as well. So, should be all exciting, and I have no idea what they're going to do next with this feud. Like I said, I'm not sure if we're writing Jon Moxley off or if he's getting another title shot. I really don't know. I think that whole barbed wire thing threw a wrench in the whole story, or maybe not. Maybe we don't know what was going to happen. So, next thing that was announced was the tag match between Jurassic Express and Bear Country. A lot of people are high on Bear Country. I think I need more. I need to be won over more. I think I'm a little bit harder of a critic. Based off the back, they don't do it for me. But it'll be nice to see Jurassic Express next week as well. And I'm sure this match will be great. I have high hopes, but good for, again, just another lower mid-card feud to in the tag team division. Exciting stuff. We have the return of the Inner Circle next week. Santana and Ortiz looked awesome last night, guys, didn't they? I just forgot to mention that. But yes, the OG Inner Circle. No MJF, no Wardlow. This will be fun to watch. I'm excited to hear, obviously, Jericho and everybody else on the mic. I want to hear, if you guys are asking me to, I want to hear some comebacks from Jericho. I mean, he's been taking it with the hairline comments, the fat comments, all that stuff. Let's see Jericho rip MJF apart on the mic next week. Let's get a war of words before we get the war in the ring. And eventually, I assume this leads to some kind of multi-man match, whether we get something akin to a War Games, or maybe we get a Blood and Guts, or we get some crazy stipulation. I'm sure we will get there eventually, but we've got a lot of fun matches in between to build up to that. So, looking forward to everything to do with this feud. We've got a title defense between Darby Allin and JD Drake. I expect Darby Allin to be Darby Allin and put on a good match. I have a feeling this will be a lot of Darby Allin selling for JD Drake and making him look as good as possible, trying to do what Cody Rhodes was doing. I just don't think it's working as well. And putting over all this talent, but still keeping the title. I don't think we see a title change. I would be baffled if we do. But yeah, that should be, again, fun match. I don't have super high expectations, so hopefully they blow me away. We've got the Bunny versus Ty Conti next week, probably in the third hour. I promise I'm done with that, guys. But really, should be exciting to see these women go at it. The Bunny looked great this week, so hopefully we see more and more improvement from Ty Conti. Again, as I said, we've been seeing week after week, so another match should be a good match. I have high hopes, not necessarily high expectations, but high hopes, and I hope we don't get any interference from Matt Hardy and the Dark Order and all these men outside the ring. I just let the women have their spotlight. I understand even if in a valet form, whatever. I give the women their spotlight. You want to build a women's division? Stop chucking all these men in there with them. Let the women shine, and let's see Ty Conti take the win and be the next challenger for Shida's title. So that is all that is announced so far, guys. But I think I'm most looking forward to the Inner Circle return, just because I miss Chris Jericho. Never thought I'd be saying that, but I miss Chris Jericho on AEW. So, all right, with all that being said, guys, thank you so much. I will see you on the Highs and Lows show if you tune into that. And if not, I'll talk to you guys next week, obviously, next Thursday on our AEW Dynamite review show here on the unofficial WWE podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Patreon if you have not subscribed already. Totally ad-free. I know the ads are so annoying. I'm subscribed on Patreon, guys. Full disclosure. I like to hear the shows on this podcast, obviously besides myself, but we have a bunch of wonderful co-hosts here that do SmackDown, NXT reviews, that do Week in Review, Raw review, rivalries, nostalgia, mailbag. I like to hear all that stuff without any ads, so I'm subscribed on Patreon, so you guys should check that out as well. And we've got a whole bunch of stuff coming up, obviously, with WrestleMania week, NXT TakeOver, bunch of content. So stick around, stick with us, and thank you guys for listening, and I will see you next time.